All right, everybody, welcome to Proverbs Guys Ministries. We have several hosts on the panel tonight, and we're going to be talking about dinosaurs and how they have been weaponizing dinosaurs to help brainwash our children into believing in this millions of years, and also to tell kids that dinosaurs never did walk with man. Now, tonight, all of us guys are going to be presenting Dr. Kent Hovind's material and defending his positions that he's worked out over long periods of time in education. And we thought, well, you know what? Why not go right to the horse's mouth and ask Dr. Kent Hovind to come help? So, Dr. Hovind, thank you for coming today. Go ahead and tell everybody about your ministry and where they can find you, and let's get into dinosaurs.
Well, thank you, brother. It's an honor to be with you. Yes, Kent Hovind. I've been a Baptist preacher 52 years. I just came from the dentist, so I'm slobbering a little bit. Sorry about that. We have a Dinosaur Adventureland theme park and museum and science center in Lenox, Alabama, straight north of Pensacola, 70 miles. It's all free. Come on down, see the place. I've been teaching all over the world on science and the Bible for 37 years now. And the guy gave us 140 acres 10 years ago here in Lenox, Alabama, where we're building our Christian camp. Our website's drdino.com. Phone number 855-BIG-DINO. We're on all kinds of channels. We're on X and Facebook and Rumble and our own TV app, KentHovind.tv, Instagram, TikTok. Just go to our website. They're all listed right there. We want to strengthen your faith in the Word of God. My seminar that I've done for many years around the world is 18 hours long, $50 for the whole thing. Part 3 is exclusively about dinosaurs. As a new Christian, when I was 16 years old, about 200 years ago, gave my heart to the Lord, got saved. I was very confused. Where do dinosaurs fit into the Bible? I was being taught in school they lived millions of years ago. I'm reading my Bible that nothing died until Adam sinned. And the 10 Commandments, God made everything in 6 days. I said, well, somebody's lying. Where do dinosaurs fit into the Bible? So that began a lifetime study of mine and passion. I want to use dinosaurs for God's glory. Satan is using these creatures to turn kids away from God. I spoke at a public school one time. I think there was first graders, about 300 of them in the gymnasium. I held up my dinosaur. I said, boys and girls, when did dinosaurs live? Instantly, all of them shouted out, millions of years ago. These kids can barely read, and they're already brainwashed. What is happening? We are losing a whole generation because Christians don't have an answer. Oh, let's see right here. Hang on. Always something breaking down here. According to evolution, things get better automatically.
We just need more time, Doc. We need more time.
Yeah, is that it? Okay. Let's see.
We have the pacifiers.
Yeah. Dinosaurs in the Bible. What is by far the most dangerous thing about dinosaurs? Well, we're at Genesis Baptist Church in Lenox, Alabama, old-fashioned right-wing radical chicken-eating Baptist church. What's the most dangerous thing about dinosaurs? Their formidable predatory abilities and physical characteristics? No. The most dangerous thing about them is where the devil is using them to brainwash billions of children to doubt the Bible and to not get saved.
Amen.
1989, someone gave us this property up here. I was in Pensacola before that for 27 years. So 10 years ago, or 1989, I'm sorry, I moved to Pensacola and started the ministry on creation science. Now we're straight north of Pensacola, 70 miles in Lenox, Alabama. Come on up and see the place. It's amazing. Somebody gave us the old gravel pit, 140 acres. It's really cool. We have 5 Jeeps now. We give tours around the property and we just want to strengthen people's faith in the Word of God. Here's a book for first graders or kindergartners. I can read about dinosaurs. Guess what the first sentence in the book says? Millions of years ago. This is calling Jesus a liar, but all the books do this. Millions of years ago, huge dinosaurs walked the earth. How many children in your state are being taught that dinosaurs lived millions of years ago? All of them? Millions of years ago. I do this presentation with kids groups, and I say, now kids, whenever you see the beep sign, stand up, turn around, sit down. Parents, look, don't expect your kids to sit for an hour while you lecture them. Give them a chance to stand up, turn around, and then I say, so they stand up, turn around, sit down, and I go right on with the lesson. And every couple of minutes, I have beep, and they'll stand up, turn around. It gets the wiggles out of them, and they listen much better. Here's Dr. Seuss. Not hundreds of years, not thousands of years, but millions of years, long before you were born. There's an evolution textbook for college. They teach that humans evolved, are related to dinosaurs 345 million years ago. Kids in school need to be vaccinated against evolution, not against the other stuff they want to vaccinate them against. My video series would really help. I tell people, when I started my ministry 37 years ago, I used to loan videos out. I learned right away the Christians don't steal, but they borrow and never return. So you buy it for $50, watch it, copy it, return it, get your money back. Can't beat a deal like that. Been my policy now for 37 years. Disney pushes dinosaurs as proof the earth is millions of years old. This is a common theme, and it's time Christians do something. The world's largest dinosaur in Canada, 82 feet tall, 375,000 visitors a year in a town of 3,000 people. They push the ridiculous religion that dinosaurs lived millions of years ago. Inner Mongolia is building the world's largest dinosaur park. And guess what they're going to teach? Evolution millions of years ago. I'd like to build a brachiosaur here up on a gravel pit up on one of the hills, 100 feet tall, have the world's biggest dinosaur. Beep, stand up, turn around, sit down. Never mind. Okay. So the Bible teaches God made everything in 6 days about 6,000 years ago. Everything. It's in the 10 Commandments. Nothing died till Adam sinned. Dinosaurs are part of the original creation with Adam and Eve. They were all friendly plant eaters. Reptiles never stopped growing. People before the flood, according to the Bible, Genesis 5, the people lived to be 900 years old before the flood came. Well, reptiles never stopped growing. They'd get 70 feet long. And dinosaurs are confusing, even today, to scientists. An 80-foot Apatosaurus, this guy, had nostrils the same size as a horse and had small lungs. So they scratched their head and wonder, how could they breathe? Well, today they couldn't, and they don't. There's not 80-footers alive today. The Bible teaches before the flood came, in the days of Noah, there was a water layer above the atmosphere. It compressed, I believe it compressed all the air down to maybe 10 miles, double air pressure at the surface, and richer oxygen. Amber, which is petrified tree sap, amber often contains insects and also contains bubbles, air bubbles. Probably from when the trees got broken in the flood, a sap would ooze out and harden, trapping pre-flood atmosphere. The air bubbles in the amber have 35% oxygen. The air we're breathing today is 21%. So I think before the flood came, there was richer oxygen and greater air pressure. So an 80-foot dinosaur could have small nostrils and small lungs. Not a problem. That crystal canopy that used to protect the world got shattered at the time of the flood. And so it's gone now. The air would expand out to the current 40 or 50 miles. That would answer the heat problem they talk about. And also why people don't live to be 900 anymore and why dinosaurs don't get 80 feet long. But there are many reports of dinosaurs still living. Here we go. Roy Mackal, University of Chicago, went twice to the Congo swamp in Africa. He believes in evolution. He came back and wrote this book. He said, folks, there are small 15-foot dinosaurs still alive in the Congo swamp. What? Of course, his colleagues thought he was nuts, you know. See, evolution is a religion. They believe it. It's not science. Noah took dinosaurs on the ark, probably babies. They eat less, they poop less, they sleep a lot longer. And they're going to live longer after the flood to produce more babies. And that's why you're bringing them. See, the Bible says Adam lived 130 years and had a son, Seth. Seth lived 105 years and begat Enos. Enos lived 90 years and begat Canaan. If you go through the Bible and add up the dates, it's not hard to do. You can make a chart like this. Before the flood is the dates in Genesis 5. After the flood is Genesis 11. Gives a bunch more numbers, how old they were. Add them up. You'll get what everybody else gets. 4,000 BC for the creation. So before the flood, it was very different. How can man live to be 900? Well, we cover that on video number 2 of my series, okay? But Steve, to make it simple, dinosaurs lived with man. They're part of the normal creation. The Bible is very clear. Nothing died until Adam sinned. Man brought death into the world. Evolution says death brought man into the world. I would encourage people to start a ministry on creation using dinosaurs. If you're not a PhD and don't know all the chemistry and all that stuff, it doesn't matter. A 5-year-old doesn't ask questions about carbon dating. They want to know, when did dinosaurs live? And if you can give them a good, solid, simple explanation, before the flood came, the people lived to be 900. Dinosaurs never stopped growing. These are just big lizards. The word dinosaur means terrible lizard, made up in 1841. And then give kids the facts that say, look, they've always lived with man. People hunted them. They called them dragons because the word dinosaur wasn't made up till 1841. But all through history, these creatures lived with man. We love dinosaurs. But are they evidence for creation or evolution? Dinosaurs and the proofs of evolution. Here's a website from Smithsonian. Wikipedia, evolution of dinosaurs. Dinosaurs evolved. The propaganda is intense. Undoing it's going to be a real difficult battle. You know, Jesus did not even try to change the Roman Empire. He went after people one at a time. I give tours here at Dinosaur Adventureland 2 or 3 times a day. Yesterday, I had 4 Jeeps full of people, or 2 days ago, 4 Jeeps full of people. Took them around, stopped, teach about stuff about creation and dinosaurs. But students by the millions are being taught dinosaurs are evidence for evolution. They're evidence for God's genius creation. How do you get an animal with his head 50 feet off the ground to not get a headache when he bends down and gets a drink and then pulls his head back up? Giraffes have special valves in their neck so the blood can't rush up and burst the brain. I bet the brachiosaur really had some of those. So, of course, you can't tell that from the bones. Anyway, brother, you said you had some questions. I'll be glad to take them anytime. But I'm sick and tired of Satan using God's creatures to turn kids away from God. I want to turn kids to God with dinosaurs. Somebody needs to start it, like Chuck E. Cheese. I mean, they still may do it. You pay them $200 to have a birthday party. They supply everything: napkins, tables, cloths, plates, pizza, candles, balloons, and they have a theme. You could do a dinosaur-themed birthday party and make a fortune. Advertise. You want to have a dinosaur birthday party for your kids? We'll supply everything, $200 or whatever, pick a price. Most parents, they just want it to be simple. Here's $200, do it for me, okay? And teach the kids the truth about dinosaurs and have them have prizes and competition, who can roar like a dinosaur. It could be a ministry for somebody, and you don't need to have a college degree. You just have to be smarter than the 5-year-olds you're talking to. Some people, that would be a challenge, I know, but okay. Anyway, Steve, I'm sorry, talking too much. Go ahead.
All right, Doc. We do have several questions, but right before we jump to that, Achilles and I were going over some of your old seminars the other day, and we were looking for information for this episode. And we came across something that we've not seen anybody else mention, and I wanted to bring it to your memory. And Achilles, what were the 2 historians who talked about the birds who helped defend off pterodactyls in Egypt? Do you remember?
Yes, it was Herodotus and Josephus. They both mentioned that wherever you would go, you have to drive the pterodactyls away. And even Moses had ibis birds with him, so because they would scare away the pterodactyls. And then that made the connection in our heads that maybe that's why the Egyptian civilization deified that bird and turned them into a god. So I don't know if you have any thoughts, if you remember.
Yeah, I'm trying to find my slides on that. I think it's slide number 405. Let me see here.
If you remember all your slides by heart.
Well, there are many legends of people killing dragons. Many legends like that. They killed them for meat because they were a menace. Gilgamesh slew a dragon. Read the Gilgamesh story. There's a Chinese legend. It says after the flood, the great flood, a guy named Yu, surveyed the land of China, divided it into sections. He built channels to drain the water off to the sea and make the land livable again. Many snakes and dragons were driven from the marshlands. Ancient Chinese story. The Chinese zodiac has a dragon on it. Why? All the rest of the animals are real. The rooster, the goat, the boar, the rat, the ox. There's a plate that was found, a clay palette, pottery, showing 2 long-necked dragons fighting or kissing. You can't tell which it is, but anyway. Why would they put that on their ancient pottery?
It's necking. You said
necking,
that.
12th century BC, a dinosaur. Again, dinosaurs, 4th century BC. 4th millennium BC. A cylinder seal. You roll it on the clay. A flying fiery serpent. I got the story. Here it is right here coming up. Many people are still claiming to see smaller pterodactyls alive today. Here it is. The famous Greek historian Herodotus said, I went once to a certain place in Arabia, almost exactly opposite the city of Buto, to make inquiries concerning the winged serpents. On my arrival, I saw the backbones and ribs of serpents in such numbers it is impossible to describe. The winged serpent is shaped like the water snake. Its wings are not feathered, but resemble very closely those of a bat. The ribs were a multitude of heaps, some great, some small, some middle-sized. The place where the bones lie is at the entrance of a narrow gorge between steep mountains, which there open upon a spacious plain, commuting with the great plain of Egypt. The story goes that with the spring, the winged snakes come flying from Arabia toward Egypt, but are met in the gorge by the birds called ibises, which forbid their entrance and destroy them all. That's from the History of Herodotus, Book 2. The ground was difficult to be passed over because the multitude of serpents, which it produced in great numbers, and indeed is singular in some of those productions which other countries do not breed. Josephus, here's the book of Josephus sitting on my shelf right there. And yet such as are worse than others in power and mischief, and unusual fierceness of spirit, some of which ascend out of the ground unseen and fly in the air, and so come upon men unaware and do them a mischief. Moses invented a wonderful stratagem to preserve the army safe and without hurt. He made baskets like unto arks or sedge, and filled them with ibises, and carried them along with them, which animal is the greatest enemy to serpents imaginable. For they fly from them when they come near them, and as they fly, they are caught and devoured by them, as if it were done by the hearts. But the ibises are tame creatures, the only enemy to the serpentine kind. About these ibises I say no more at present. Again, this is the works of Josephus. Since the Greeks themselves are not unacquainted with this type of bird, as soon therefore as Moses was come to the land, which was the breeder of the serpents, he let loose the ibises, and by their means repelled the serpent kind, and used them for his assistance before the army came upon that ground. When he had therefore proceeded thus on his journey, he came upon the Ethiopians before they expected him, and joining battle with them, he beat them. 793 AD, this year came dreadful forewarnings over the land of some hard name, terrifying the people. These were immense sheets of light rushing through the air and whirlwinds and fiery dragons flying across the firmament. Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. The Babylonian god Marduk is shown standing on top of a fire-breathing dragon. Job 41 talks about Leviathan. Out of his mouth go burning lamps and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils go a smoke. I've seen deacons do that, Southern Baptist churches. Okay. His breath kindles coals, and a flame goes out of his mouth. That's what it says. And read Job. In the book of Daniel, the Catholic Bible's got 2 extra chapters. They should not be there. They're called spurious books, but they added them. There was a great dragon in the place, and the Babylonians worshipped him. The king said to Daniel, "Thou canst not say this is not a living God. Adore him, therefore." Daniel said, "I adore the Lord my God. He is a living God, but that is no living God. Give me leave, give me permission, O king. I will kill this dragon without sword or club." The king said, "I give thee leave." Daniel took pitch and fat and hair, boiled them together, and made lumps, and put them into the dragon's mouth, and the dragon burst asunder. That's what the story says. Daniel was a man who understood science. He knew that pitch is made from tree sap. Fat is salty tasting, and almost all animals like that. And hair won't digest. Mixed them together, the critter swallowed them, plugged up his intestines. Those were the days before Rooter, and he burst asunder. Hovind theory. This book about the rise of Babylon, Saddam Hussein. I've been told that Saddam means prince. George Bush always called him Saddam. He mispronounced it on purpose because Saddam means horse's rear end. No, George Bush. Okay. But anyway, there are lots of legends in ancient Babylon of people knowing about dragons. Let's see, this is brick. Here you go. Dragons and lions on the ancient walls of Babylon. They're still there today. A soldier friend of mine was over there and said, "Yep, here they are, dragons, right on the wall." Why would they do that in 600 BC? Because there were some still alive. So I think dinosaurs have always lived with man. There's some possibly still alive today in the Congo swamp and Loch Ness Monster and all that kind of stuff. Alexander the Great said when they conquered India in 326 BC, his soldiers were scared by great dragons that lived in the caves. Here's a Roman mosaic from the 2nd century AD, after Christ, showing 2 long-necked dragons fighting, or necking, okay? Here's a mosaic from 100 AD. Why would they show a dinosaur? Here's a 1562, 450 years ago, a painting called The Suicide of Saul, King Saul committing suicide. In that circle, it sure looks to me like they're riding dinosaurs. Why would they make a painting like that 450 years ago? St. George slew a dragon. There's a dragon fighting an elephant. Beowulf story talks about he slew many dragons. There's a Beowulf story in English. Okay? He pulled off one of its front arms and the creature bled to death. That's what it says. So, guys, there's so much information. I think it's overwhelming. Dinosaurs lived with man. They did not live millions of years ago. Noah took them on the ark, probably babies. And people killed most of them after the flood, but there probably are some still around, like Loch Ness Monster kind of stuff. Okay?
Sir, it is impressive in itself that we just picked up a random point in your seminars, and you even remembered the slide, and you gave us way more info than we could have expected. I'm actually glad that you just came back from the dentist, because you need handicap to counter this. Like, if you can do this with your half your brain and your hands tied behind your back. So, next question. I would like to share a picture with you, which, as you know, the propaganda is very strong with this one, with what we're talking about. Our children have to fight at school, and we should be doing the fight for them instead of letting them go and fight their teachers. And this is from the recent Jurassic movie film, and they are presenting this dinosaur. And you know very well by seeing this picture why they're doing this and what they're trying to do. So I would like to ask you, what is it that destroys the theory that dinosaurs evolved into birds?
Nobody has seen any animal evolve into something else. Nobody's ever seen a reptile produce a non-baby reptile. Nobody's ever seen a cow produce a non-cow, a chicken produce a non-chicken. God said 20 times in the first 7 chapters of the Bible, the plants and animals would bring forth after their kind. That would be science. It is not science to claim that ducks are related to whales. They drew a line on a chart connecting the duck and the whale and the people. You can draw all the lines you want on a chart, but that's just it's not scientific evidence. This is a propaganda poster is all it is, saying everything came from a common ancestor called an amoeba or protozoa or something. So
what about Archaeopteryx?
Archaeopteryx is a bird, 100% bird. If you see you got to watch what they're doing. They're digging up fossils that they think are half one, half another, intermediate. I say, guys, no fossil counts as evidence for evolution, none. When you dig up bones out of the dirt, all you really could prove is it died. You cannot prove it had any children. You sure can't prove it had different children. Why would you think a bone in the dirt could do something no animal today can do? Where are the animals today producing offspring other than their kind? There aren't any.
Just to remind you, you've said in your seminars the things that make it impossible for dinosaurs to have evolved into birds, as what you're saying is 100% correct. But I remember distinctly 3 things. I want to throw them at you and whatever you recall. First is the hollow bones that birds have. Second is that it is very hard. Now we have microscopes and we can zoom in on a scale and we can zoom in on a feather, and they're not the same thing. And the third thing is the chambers of the heart of the reptiles and the birds is not the same. One of them has 3, the other has 4. So whatever you feel like mentioning from that.
Also, the lungs are totally different. Birds have to have a lot more air to be able to fly, oxygen. When they breathe into their lungs, it goes into a whole bunch of, it's like bubbles off the side of it. We just have 2 big lungs. They expand, contract, expand, contract. They have a whole bunch of chambers off of their lungs. Google the lungs of a bird. Let's see, that's in here somewhere. I got pictures of all that. By the way, you can get all my slides, 104,000 slides for $100. Call 855 Big Dino, extension 1. Where's the bird? Oh, that's on video number 4. It's on a different one. I'm sorry. So, yeah, I've been collecting stuff for years on dinosaurs that are probably still alive and always lived with man. Let's see, where did I leave off here? Slide 487. There's a carving in Germany. Dinosaurs. Marco Polo had dragons pulling his chariots in parades. Why would they record that? Maybe because he had dragons pulling chariots in his parade. That's my theory. There's a 5th century cathedral in England showing 2 long-necked dinosaurs again. Why are they doing this? There's an ancient coin from 1587 showing a man slaying a dragon. 1606 coin, a man slaying a dragon. Another one, he's got the spear through his mouth. See, the population back in 1600 was less than 500 million people in the whole world. Lots of the world had still not even been conquered or discovered or visited, let alone lived on. Coin from 1622 showing a man slaying a dragon. Russian medallion has a man killing a dragon. It just is unbelievable. The evidence is overwhelming. People have always lived with these. They've made artwork, pictures of them at Grand Canyon. The Indians knew about them. Discoveries relating to prehistoric man. Dinosaurs carved on the wall. Some guy said, the fact that some prehistoric man made a pictograph of a dinosaur on the walls of the canyon upsets completely all of our theories. Oh, you poor guy. Okay. And that was in 1925. He said, we know dinosaurs went extinct 12 million years before man appeared on Earth. Really? Now they know it was 65 million years ago. They keep changing the number. You don't know either of those. You cannot prove the extinction of anything. You'd have to be everywhere at the same time. And you can't do that. Okay. But there's just 1770, they said the Earth was 70,000 years old. In 1905, the official age of the Earth was 2 billion. 1969, the official age is 3.5 billion. Now it's 4.6. Earth has been getting older at the rate of 21 million years per year. It's getting older 40 years a minute. Aging fast. I'm tired thinking about it. There you go. Utah. Blanding, Utah. Carvings of dinosaurs. I think we've been lied to. They've always lived with man. There's nothing, Christians have nothing to fear from dinosaurs, but Christians have abandoned the field, and we're letting the devil use these creatures to turn kids away from God. I'm sick of it. That's why we started Dinosaur Adventureland. It's free. You've got 30 cabins you can stay in, 17 lakes, 6 zip lines. Are building a Noah's Ark, 1/3 scale model. Come on down. Pay us a visit.
Before we go to Richard and the next question that we have, because you mentioned that, one thing we encounter a lot is people that are Christians who are old Earth creationists. They believe in a God, but they believe that he used the evolutionary process. And although we've taken parts from your seminars and have presented them here, maybe you have an answer for those that think that way.
Well, Jesus said the creation of Adam was the beginning. Matthew 19:4, Mark 10:6. Was it or wasn't it? Make them argue with Jesus instead. I don't want to argue with them. Jesus said the creation of Adam was the beginning. Was he lying? Was he stupid? In the 10 Commandments, God said to Moses, write this down. The 10 Commandments, actually, God wrote the first one with his own finger on a rock. Moses broke those, and God had to make a second copy. But God talked about the Sabbath. He said, I want you to honor the Sabbath, for in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is. That would include man and dinosaurs together on day 6. That's what it says. You believe that or not? So if someone claims they are a Christian, they love the Lord, love the Bible, but they also believe in evolution, they're really confused. Tell them I said so.
All right. Brother Rich, if you want to go ahead and start pulling up those questions for Doc, we'll let him address them one at a time. We had a couple good ones.
Okay. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the soft tissue that is found in dinosaur bones and maybe give a rebuttal to some of the reasons how they think that it survived for 66 million years.
They're finding many examples of soft tissue, skin, food in their stomach, dinosaurs. Muscles, nerve fibers, blood cells. It's real simple. The dinosaurs they're digging up are 4,400 years old when the Noah's flood came. They're not millions of years old. There's no possible way those soft tissues could remain soft and flexible for all those years. Mary Schweitzer, who believes in evolution, or claims she does, I guess, she found the first one I'm aware of. And she said, man, this is crazy. It's soft tissue. So they started asking the question, how could it stay soft for 65 million years? It will never enter their brain to think, maybe it's not 65 million. No, they're not allowed to think that. Biomolecules normally break down quickly. Researchers have identified how these tissues can persist Iron catalysts. Iron nanoparticles released from the degraded blood act as a natural fixative, similar to the way formaldehyde. For millions of years, guys, come on. Cross-linking. Proteins become tightly bound together, strengthening them against environmental degradation. Oh, for 65 million years. Mineral encasement. No, that may be at work. This is what they're saying. Is that just from, where'd you get that, Joseph?
Well,
AI? That's your slide.
that's my slide. I got it from just a Google search real quick, to see if you could rebuttal their excuse or their theory of how it was able to stick around.
Well, how do you demonstrate that? Go ahead and encase one and watch it. You stick a pound of bacon in your freezer, come try to eat it a year later. That's just a year, and it's frozen. No, to just wrap it up in minerals, it's going to last. No, I'm sorry, I don't buy that. But even then, it's begging the question. They're found in many places in the world, all different types of soft tissue, food still in their mouth. Dinosaurs, food still in their stomach, undigested. And many dinosaurs are found with their neck arched back like they're trying to get one more breath before they go underwater. They're called the death pose. Can you Google that, Joseph? Dinosaurs in the death pose, P-O-S-E. There was a flood. Noah's flood is what killed all the dinosaurs except those on the ark. Getting off the ark, they faced a different world. You can't live to be 900 anymore. People only live to be 400, then 200, then 100. So something changed. I think it's that canopy overhead was gone. That's my Hovind theory on that. Find anything on that? There we go. Call up images. Was it show any pictures of them? The death pose. Look at that. Neck. Look at the bottom middle one. There you go. They're drowning. They're trying to get one more breath.
We don't see something. Is Joseph sharing something? It's not coming through.
Oh, you didn't put it up?
No, I can't put it up. It's not on our studio.
Oh, it's not in our studio. Okay. Can you put it up again? Maybe they can call it up, or
I'll try to find it. What's it called?
Dinosaur death pose. See, in 2 Peter in the Bible, 2 Peter 3 says the scoffers are willingly ignorant of the creation and the flood. The flood, there you go. Why do they have their neck twisted back like that? Is that the way they died? Nice and relaxed? No. They died trying to get one more breath.
Okay. Questions? Stephen, you got any questions there?
Yes, we'll pull up the next one for you. So this one is a question about Behemoth. And it says, what about the evidence that Behemoth is a chaos monster and Behemoth's tail isn't a tail?
If you read Job chapter 38, 39, 40, and 41, God is talking to Job, asking him 84 questions. Job never answers any of them. In chapter 42, God said, Job, behold now Behemoth, which I made with thee. The first clue is he made it with Job, okay? He said he's the biggest animal God ever made. That would be this guy right here, the Brachiosaurus. It says he's got a tail like a cedar tree. Some Bibles say it's maybe elephant or hippopotamus. Go look at their tail. I think this is obviously this guy right here, the Brachiosaurus. So read Job chapter 40. I'm sorry, no, I said 42. Job 40, starting about verse 15. This is describing a dinosaur. God said, behold now Behemoth. Well, God would not ask Job to behold Behemoth if he could not behold Behemoth. So I think the critter was right there with him. It says, which I made with thee. He eats grass like an ox. Vegetarian. It says his strength is in his loins. His force is in the navel of his belly. The biggest part on him is his belly. That is exactly correct. Let's see. Dinosaurs in the Bible. Here it is right here. Dragons are mentioned in the Bible quite a few times. Let's see, 16 times. Dragons are mentioned. Dragon or dragons plural. So dragon singular found 19 times. Here, read the book of Job. You can read how Job had 7 sons and read the whole story for yourself. But Job, when God was asking Job questions, to get up here, chapter 30, I'm sorry, 40, chapter 40. Coming. Okay. Job 41 talks about Leviathan, the fire-breathing dragon. That's a fun one, too. There you go. Behold now, Behemoth, which I made with thee, eats grass like an ox. Some reference Bibles say it might be elephant hippopotamus. No, it's probably Brachiosaurus, or Cedosaurus or Apatosaurus, most likely the Brachiosaur, or maybe Blondosaur. You talk to her kind of slow. Okay. Says he eats grass like an ox. The strength is in his loins. The force is in the navel of his belly. The biggest part on him is his belly. People say elephants have a big belly. Yep, that's true. Hippos have a big belly. Brachiosaurus had a big belly. He's got a big belly. So does he. He moveth his tail like a cedar. His tail's like a cedar tree. Take a look at an elephant's tail. Not like a cedar tree. Okay? Hippo tail, not like a cedar tree. Try again. Before they make comments on the Bible, they really ought to, read it first, okay? His bones are like bars of iron. His bones are like pieces of iron, pieces of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. Brachiosaur toe bone. They were huge, no question. There's a leg of a brachiosaur. One brachiosaur would weigh about 100 tons, the same as 14 school buses put together. I tell the kids, if he was to come by and step on you, you'd be deeply impressed by him. Should I tell him, Stephen, I got a new invention. It's going to save millions of dollars for the highway department. I invented a shovel that will stand up by itself. We won't need to pay the guys to lean on it. Imagine all the money. Okay? All I want is 10% of the savings too, okay? It says he's the chief of the ways of God. That means he's the biggest animal God made. Okay, that would be the Brachiosaurus. So I think God ought to get the glory for his creation. Anyway, more questions, guys. Go ahead.
All right, we got a couple more here for you. This one's from your favorite creationist crybaby. He says, Kent Hovind, how do you explain that in recent decades, evidence has accumulated that many non-avian dinosaur species also possessed feathers or feather-like structures in some shape or form?
That is pure baloney, okay? Birds always have baby birds. Lizards always have baby lizards. If you wish to imagine that they changed, that's not science. Finding a fossil, even if you found a fossil of a reptile with feather on it, that could prove something went extinct. It would not prove it changed into something else. In an honest court of law, none of those fossils would count. You can't prove they had any children at all. So oftentimes the scales, the protein fibers will flay out. The filaments come apart, and it looks like they call a proto feather. It's not a proto feather; it's just little lines on the scale breaking apart. So no, I would say even if they found a half dinosaur, half bird as a fossil, you could not prove it had any children at all. You can't prove it had different children. You can't prove it's intermediate. All you know is it died. Now, if you wish to believe that, great, believe it, but it's not science. Okay? I don't know how you can't see it. You don't want to see it.
Amen. All right. Next question. And this is a good one. It says, curious, what would an orb spider web be used for in a pre-fallen world without death? No more creatures created after 6 days of creation. Do you believe there was physical death before the fall? Why the tree of life if there was no physical death?
Well, good question. Not necessarily on dinosaurs, but I think insects may be a different category. Are insects alive in the same sense that man is alive? You know, man has a body, soul, and spirit. Animals have something, a body and a consciousness of life. Insects might just be a self-replicating food supply. So it could be that they were eating each other and were allowed to be eaten, and it's not considered physical death like it is for an animal. So that's one theory. Don't know. I've decided I'm going to trust God on that one until I get to heaven. Some people decide I'm going to doubt God until I get an answer. Okay, we'll see how that works out for you.
All right, next question. And this one is, do you think the Babylonian god Marduk is likely the defied wicked son Mardin per book of Jasher of Nimrod? His pet was a dinosaur/dragon.
Don't know. I've got the book of Jasher here. I haven't read the whole thing, but There's a lot of strange stories in there. So yeah, Babylonian god Marduk, I showed that earlier, certainly appears to be a dragon, a dinosaur. Let's see. Call up the pictures again and get the reference right there if you want to see it for yourself. Babylonian god Marduk. Let's see, this 851 slides in this presentation. It helps if you ask the questions in the right order that I got the answers. Gilgamesh, Beowulf, Babylonian god Marduk. Where's he at? Yeah, I'll find it. Yeah, I think I showed that earlier. But yeah, that's a good point. I don't know about who they. And be cautious with the book of Jasher. Okay, it's not biblical. It's an interesting book, but it's not inspired word of God. Let's see, where's Marduk? I can't find it quickly here. Babylonian cylinder seal.
I think this is a, a bit of a rabbit trail, and we should get out of the rabbit hole.
Okay, go ahead.
I mentioned this earlier. I would like to drive this through to viewers. There are many reasons why dinosaurs cannot have evolved into birds, and let's not focus on the whole word evolved, because we understand now that it's made up baloney. Can you tell them how a 3-chambered heart works completely different than a 4-chambered heart, and they can evolve from one another?
You can't change. It would change your 4-cylinder engine into a V8 while it's running.
They have this imagination that somehow this must have happened if you give them the pacifiers. Sir, do you have the pacifiers with you?
This is the pacifier that they all rely on. Time. If that doesn't work, try more time.
It would be a joke.
With that one on there.
It would be a joke if it wasn't this dangerous to people's face.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this one relates to fossils, but it can also tie into dinosaurs, Doc. So best answer you have for this. And this is a question for me. Evolutionists claim that we have a lot of trouble finding transitional fossils, and they'll say things like, a fossil is very hard to preserve, and it's almost a miracle when we find them. My question for you is, why don't we have the same issue finding fossils of other creations that we know exist already? It's only the transitional fossils we never seem to have luck finding. Any thoughts on that?
Well, like I tell them, no fossil counts. You can't prove any fossil is transitioning to something else. All you know is it died. Right now, cows produce cows without exception. Dogs produce dogs without exception. Ducks have baby ducks. There are no exceptions. That's what we can observe. Science is what we can observe, study, test. We know there are 167 varieties of ducks, and we can assume they had a common ancestor called a duck. See, the animals don't know that we're classifying them. They don't even care. They know what to look for in a mate. On our property right here, we have a bunch of ducks, about 50 of them. I feed them every day when I go around on the tour. We have ducks, fish in the lake, snakes. We have cows. We have donkeys. We have sheep, goats, pigs. They all know what to look for in a mate. The pigs don't even consider mating with the ducks. Don't even think about it. They know what to look for. And keep in mind, they don't even know what they look like. But they know what to look for in a mate, don't they? Yeah, strange, isn't it?
And we're the ones classifying them, not them.
They don't care that we're classifying them.
Sir, a quick question. I gotta go give some meds to my dog. After being on the internet for this long and dealing with all the attacks that you have been, the ad hominems, the strawmans, are you seeing all these trolls that exist? Are you sure we don't come from apes and they're like closely related? They haven't evolved out of it yet? I don't know. Just
I had some students when I was teaching for 15 years that made me wonder, but no. Humans always have baby humans. There are no exceptions. You can imagine if otherwise if you want. This textbook chart, I'll use in a lot of our textbook now, this same chart or something similar, saying humans are related to, let's see, butterflies. Common ancestor right here. Humans and butterflies. This is called stupid. This isn't science. This is stupid.
And we recently got attacked no, they were attacking you. They were saying that this is a straw man and you're using a very outdated tree. So we went online and we brought them the most up to date, and it shows the exact same thing with just more lines. That's what it does. Like it's the same thing. It's everywhere. It's on Wikipedia. It's on textbooks. It's all over the place.
Yep. See, they want very badly to not believe in God. Because if the story of the Bible is true and God made the world, that would mean he owns it and he can make the rules. They don't like his rules. That's really what they're running from. I tell people, look, if you don't like God's rules, build your own planet and make your own rules and do whatever you want. This one is his. He made the world. He owns it and he makes the rules. If you don't like it, go build your own planet. Simple. But this one's his and he's going to be the judge, whether you like it or not.
And because I'm Greek, I can verify that willfully ignorant means dumb on purpose. That's what they are.
Rich, did you have any more questions for Dr. Hovind before we free him up? He has a show in about an hour and 15 minutes he needs to prepare for.
No, you guys actually covered what I was going to ask him. Just, do you need an electrician to come down and wire your Noah's Ark here anytime soon?
I do. Hey, do you know what's black and crispy and hangs from the ceiling?
What?
What?
Polish electricians.
Oh, my Lanta. All right.
Go help him out, Rich.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you. Come visit Dinosaur Adventureland. It's free. It's amazing down here. God is good. It's just some of God's kids that drive me nuts, but God is good. That's it. If you want to get a hold of us, there's our address, drdino.com, 855-BIG-DINO. We're on all kinds of channels, Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, everything. Everything, even YouTube. People put our stuff up on YouTube. Please do. So we want to strengthen your faith. Okay? Thanks for having me on, guys.
Praise God, and may he bless your ministry for many years more, Doc. Thank you.
Amen.
God
Thank you.
Thank you
All right.
for all your work.
Thank
God
you.
bless
Bye-bye.
Man, I love that man. And I love his sense of humor. Cracks me up every time.
Now you have an excuse to come back to America and go visit his place, man. You'd love it there.
Yeah, if I came to the U.S. again, I would make it a permanent residence in DAL, and I would move around. But I would go help him and help Joseph out with all the technical problems and all he's doing. He's done a great work. I don't think he needs me, but I just, and then I have other skills. I can do like even building and plastering, and I'm a mechanic. Anything I could do to help that ministry. And I don't know, man, maybe I should start a DAL around here. Greeks are captives to Orthodoxy, which is getting close to Catholicism, accepting old earth slowly, but you don't have an authority to attack. It's like if you ask one priest, they say, no, I don't believe in old earth. Then you ask the other one, it's like, yeah, I believe in old earth. So you don't have, and people don't know. I was discussing with somebody today, because I'm selling some parts, some computer parts, and we started talking about parts, and he started telling me about the world and all that stuff. And all of a sudden, like the discussion went there. People are not educated here at all. So should I come visit DAL, or should I make this a mission around here?
Why not both? If you make one out there, I guarantee Doc would probably endorse it for you.
Right. I needed some time, guys. I tried to go give my dog some meds, but I couldn't leave, so I'll be right back.
Okay, go ahead. See you later, man. Yeah, if any of you guys haven't checked out Dr. Hovind's ministry in Southern Alabama, I lived there for on and off for 4 years. the best way I can describe it is it's like living in the world, but living around a Christian family. You know, God says, live in the world and not of it. And that was the closest place I could find to actually really have a supporting family to do that. I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere. Rush hour is 2 vehicles at a stop sign. It's just peaceful. And they say it's an old gravel pit. You'll hear atheists scoff about that. But he turned that gravel pit into something just absolutely enchanting. You know, and if you're ever wanting to film a movie, that place has every setting you need for that movie. You know, desert scenery, dense forestry, jungle, swamplands. I mean, it's an incredible place. You know, definitely go out there, visit the place, volunteer for a little while. It'll blow your mind. When I was there, we had people come through and say that the kids enjoyed it better than Disney World. They did it on the same trip, and the kids had more fun there. It's a lot more hands-on. Got an amazing museum. Teach you all about creation. The 6 days of creation, just detailed. I wonder if he'll let me add a couple things to it. I've got some theories I'd like to throw out there for him. But they'll feed you, you know, they'll put you to work. It's amazing. You know, they've got a petting zoo up there. They have emus, which will eat right out of your hand. They're incredibly friendly. Tours, it's absolutely amazing, you know. Activity for the whole family is a huge playground. Greenhouses, you name it. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. All built by volunteers and donations. You know, there are very few places on this planet where you can really walk into a place and know that the Holy Spirit is there. That's one of those. That place changed my life. For those of you who know my testimony, I mean, I was going to into a career of aerospace engineering, and just as I was about to get started, God opened my eyes right away and literally told me, "Look, I need you doing something else." And He sent me down to study off of Dr. Hovind. I mean, that guy's one of the most brilliant people on the planet. I know he doesn't like me saying this, but you know, he has an IQ of 160. So Stephen Hawking has an IQ of 160. Elon Musk has a high IQ of 160. He's right up there. He's one of the smartest people on the planet. You know, if anything, that's one reason to listen to his theories, that maybe he's right. Guy's a genius. He has a heart to serve God. That's it. You know, and he needs help building his place. I mean, his entire place is open for free, and he just wants to teach people about God. You know, he wants to get people saved. That's his entire goal. And that's why people hate him so much for it, is just because he's right. You know,
100% I agree, Rich. Now, we did open up the panel. The panel is open right now. I have posted the link, and hopefully Brother Achilleas will be back, you know, soon as he's done with the doggies, because I have a feeling we'll have some atheists want to come in here and pound on us after hosting Kent Hovind. And yeah, I'm glad that I was able to reach out to Doc, and he was able to and willing to come on and share with us his knowledge about how dinosaurs are being used to brainwash our children. Because even though we point to a lot of his information, he really is the horse's mouth on the topic. So it's appropriate that he was here tonight.
yeah, I got DC coming in.
Hey, boys.
What's up, DC? How's it going, man?
How you
It's
doing, bud?
going. It's going good every day.
Well, what did you think of what you saw so far?
You know, I was thinking that, you know, years ago, I didn't really have many answers. You know, it appeared that, you know, science has solved the evolutionary, you know, quest, that evolution is a proven fact and that billions of years is a proven fact. And so, but to go from where I was to now is just the more and more evidence that you actually look at, the more ridiculous that theory and hypothesis becomes. And it becomes a laughing stock, because it's like, you know, when I just sometimes relate back to Mormonism. When I was a Mormon, you know, the things that I was taught, it was truth, sounded great. But when you start to dig into the facts of it, the facts just start to disprove itself when you zoom in. And I've been noticing this trend of smoke and mirrors, right? As to, oh, it's proven fact, but then how? Like the discussion today, right? How do you go from a 3-valve heart to a 4-valve heart? There's no explanation. They can't do it. How many scientists around the world working in biology, and they still cannot answer these questions? In fact, the questions get harder to answer the more knowledge that we have. And so, you go from right now, in 5 years from now, their answers are going to be even harder to answer because it's built upon lies. When something's not truthful, eventually it's going to be found out that it's not truthful. And that's what led me out of the Mormon church, was because there was a time period where we didn't have much evidence to prove that Joseph Smith was a false prophet and the Book of Mormon was a 19th century creation. What happened was, as further as time went, we started to notice, hey, wait a second, there's stuff from the New Testament injected into the Book of Mormon. How did it get there? And so the evidence has started to come out, and I'm seeing this trend is what's going on with evolution is to take one animal and create a whole nother species out of one animal type. It sounds great in theory on the outside, but when you start to go into the mechanics that it requires to make that leap, it just literally becomes improbable and impossible. It just to take that leap just can't. Science is just going in the wrong direction to prove it, because it's just being proven to be insurmountable.
We are warned by scriptures about knowledge falsely so called. In the book of Timothy, Paul is warning Timothy to beware. And scripture is divinely inspired. And here we are doing way worse. And Satan did, the Bible does tell us that Satan fools the whole world. And we are a minority here. Young earth creationism is a minority. Like you see, even Christians, hello scriptures, welcome, who still believe that an evolutionary theory is part of God's plan, even though it contradicts the Bible. It needs death before Adam, which is not what Jesus said, but people just won't let go of it. It's so sad.
Yeah, and that really is hope. Sorry, I froze a drink. I like my drinks to be as close to frozen as possible. Now it's bubbling up out of the top. But that's the thing is time is going to be our best friend, because as time progresses, we're going to be able to show with better science that
I don't think we have that time, DC. And time is their God, the evolutionary deity, because whatever doesn't work, they just add some time, and then they add more time, and then they add more time. But from our perspective, I think we are in the end times. Wherever somebody thinks we are in them, is a completely different debate, but we definitely are closing in 2,000 years from Christ. And I don't think we have the time to say, well, we'll get them in the future. Every day counts. And this is a calling to other Christians too, to realize that this is the root of the problem, of all the problems we see around us. Abortion, depression, how many did we or did we not get to the other night? We should be doing this more often than debating things like Calvinism, whether we should keep the Sabbath, which denomination is best. I think we should be focusing more on this one.
Yeah, and when I was speaking of time, I don't want to inject because I'm trying to stay on topic, but we definitely are at the end times. And the truth is going to be revealed in a very short amount of time. The scriptures do talk of a 1,000-year peace millennium, and that peace is going to come through, absolute truth, and people are going to know the truth, and we're not going to be given under these lies.
I know, I agree with you. Let's try to make this back and forth. I agree with you, but there is that little tiny little thing before that time. It's called judgment. So what we have to do as Christians is make sure we can save like one person from that. Get
Right.
them to get in the kingdom that's coming, and they will know the
Right.
truth then, right?
Right, and that is the goal of this discussion, is not to just prove that we're right and they're wrong. It's there's so many Christians out there that are believing in these lies because it's been presented in a way that seems more plausible than what the Bible is claiming. And so
Right.
being able to come out here and show like, hey, I started a Facebook channel just a couple days ago, and I'm starting to post, a lot of evidences that just backfire when it comes to this old age and evolution, because we do have solid evidence that disproves billions of years and evolution. And there's a lot of people out there that are unaware of these things, and so they're not given a viable option to help them understand that you don't have to accept bad beliefs and try and merge it with the Bible because you don't have an answer. We do have answers. So the more that people can be, given the opportunity to actually see opposing evidence that is a better explanation for what we see, then people can then let go of these bad Christian beliefs, trying to merge, bad science with the Bible. It's great.
DC, may I interrupt you? Just not because of something you said, but because of something Odin just seems to be having a beef, and I love beef. I love roast beef, so let me do a little bit of roasting. Odin, my words were that it doesn't matter where we are in the end times, but we are in the end times. The Bible is right next to you. Open it up, pull a couple of connections, and see that we are in the times that we have been talked about from the Bible. It doesn't matter, I said, where we are in them. We should care to get people to the truth. And part of the truth is to stop believing lies, because somebody gives people lies with a straight face. Okay? Evolution never took place. Period. Now, if you want to jump on board and come help us on that mission, you're more than welcome. But if you still want to insist and continue on that death pre-existed Adam and there were pre-Adamites and all that we were discussing the other day, start a channel, bro. Go do that. We will focus here on exposing every theory that tries to discredit what Jesus said. Okay?
Hey, we don't want
Are
to
you
be
talking
too.
to me on that, Achilles?
We have a new guest.
No, brother, no, it's the comments in Odin. I know you have a different view, but I would love
I was
First
going to
of all,
ask you if the problem of...
give me your feedback here. But
Okay, yeah, I've got to go. My family's eating, so I'll give this really quickly, and then I'll come back if I have time later. So you think the problem of evil in regards to animal death is your number one criticism of old Earth positions, correct?
I don't know if I can call it number one, but it is an issue. Yes, it is a big issue.
Okay. Have you ever read any of the literature on what are called rebel angel theodicies? In fact, there's a person that has a channel, the Analytic Christian, who just had a guest on that had a new version of that called the Omission Theodicy. Have you ever heard of that?
You've done this 10 times with me, scriptures. Every time we discuss on something, you ask me about some different literature, whether I've read it. And no, I haven't. And this is one of those cases as well. No, I haven't. I read the Bible.
Okay, it's just some of the cutting edge research in regards to that, because admittedly it is a weakness in our position. So I will grant that, but that's where a lot of the cutting edge research is right now, because animal suffering is a big deal in topics. But I did have one other thing to mention really fast, and I've got to leave. The Gray Fossil Site in Tennessee has no dinosaurs. And I'm kind of curious to see if you guys think that is pre-flood or post-flood, if you haven't looked it up. I was hoping to see if Dr. Hovind had ever heard of it before. No fossils. It seems to be pre-ice age. It looks like a sinkhole that a bunch of things fell into and died. There are thousands of fossils there. It's going to take them forever to dig it out.
What's it called?
The Grave Fossil Site, Tennessee. I've actually been there twice.
Where in Tennessee? I live in Tennessee. I wouldn't mind checking it out.
Oh, I think it's. Oh, I'm trying to remember. They were digging a highway out, and they found it. I think it's closer. It's closer to the Virginia border. It's on the eastern side, if I remember correctly. I'm not exactly sure where without googling it.
The Gray Fossil Site, like GRAY, or the Great Fossil Site?
I think it's GRAY. Don't remember. I think, but it should pop up pretty easily. The University of Tennessee had to make a bigger geology department when they found it because they weren't expecting that. It was a kind of a random discovery by the highway department.
I've never heard of it, but I've got it pulled up now.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if you guys think that's flood deposits, pre-flood or post-flood. And maybe I'll come back and find out the answer. So I got to go. Thanks for having me on.
All right, brother. We'll see you later.
You guys be blessed.
God bless.
I wonder maybe I should just call Dr. Hovind and ask him directly, but he's got another show going on now, doesn't he?
Now, while you're looking that up and deciding, I want to make a comment on that. Is we find that type of feature where there's a collection of dinosaur bones, of multiple dinosaurs, multiple depositation of fossils of many different kinds and types. They are collected all over. And the best explanation for those, even if we don't have direct answers to answer today, is, if there was a flood and it wiped out the animals, if you're in a flood, it's going to cause you to pool in an area. That's why we find coal deposits in pooled areas, is because that's where that collected. Just watch videos of like Mount St. Helens, biological mats will congregate together by attracting to each other after the death, and that's what I've seen, in the places in Carbon County and Price, and with dinosaur bones there, that it's the same thing. It's like a jumbled mess of bones, and you go through all these different areas spread out that dead things have been collecting and then buried into sedimentation. So whatever each one individually is, it all follows the same pattern.
I mean, if anything, if there aren't any prehistoric, I put that in quotes or whatever, fossils out there, I mean, it shows that it doesn't take millions and millions of years for things to fossilize. If they're standard and modern fossils of things that do exist today, I mean,
yeah, we find many evidences of things that are fossilized or petrified in a very, very short time. Whereas, in the early years, we're told by scientists that these processes take millions of years. Going back to Mount St. Helens, the same thing. Look how much that canyon got carved out in, and I think it was 9 hours to be specific. Whereas scientists before the witness of that claim that to create a canyon like that would take millions of years, and then here comes an actual event that showed that it only took 9 hours to do something that scientists claim through erosion should take millions of years. And so we see that all over the place with fossilization and different sedimentation. One of the things that I just want to add to it, that's something I want to talk about either on my Facebook or on this video sometime, is the lime that is found in like sandstones, right? I did, growing up doing concrete for my dad, lime is a factor in concrete, especially in the winter seasons, because you want to be able to make the concrete workable. And so you will add lime to concrete in order to make it, take it to where you can process it or slow the sedimentation, like the concrete, the cure. You'll add lime to it, and so it makes it more like a better way to be able to control it, and that way you can finish the concrete in the manner that you want it to. And lime plays a critical role in that. And so we find in these sedimentation layers that even these fossils are in there, lime is present. Lime is equally distributed in these layers that helps in the fossilization and the control of sedimentary layers that are encapsulating these fossil bones that we find. Traditional geological explanations and their interpretations of geological columns can't account for the even distribution of lime in these sediments. It just doesn't work. And the other thing with lime is for every molecule of limestone that is created, carbon dioxide is emitted into the air. And so when things are fossilized, like through lime sandstone, it does attract the lime back into it. It's like an absorber. So these processes can speed up and give the proper cure to fossilization of bones. We don't really find much fossilization of things today compared to the way it was before, but the one fact remains: 100% of every fossil that is ever found has been found in solidified mud. Not depositation of loose soil. If you don't have the lime, it won't produce. So I don't want to get too much on a soundtrack. Seems like I might be veering off a little bit, but my point with all of these is that there's processes that are better explained by young Earth that do fit scientific models, whereas the old Earth just doesn't quite work.
I got a question for anyone that wants to take it. Let me see, I should have it in top. Okay, so this is the structure of the bones of birds.
I thought that was Swiss cheese.
So it is that way.
Why'd you have to throw that picture up there? Now I'm craving chicken wings, man. Come on, man.
They are that way so they can maintain structural integrity while they are lightweight for flight. So where exactly do you guys think that started happening in dinosaurs? Like, did they start flying first and they were heavy? So that like the first one just hit the ground and it was like, I got an idea. Or did they start happening while they were on the ground and they started like breaking bones until one of them like said, wait a minute, I know what I'm gonna do with this. I'm gonna make some feathers. So it's gonna take like some generations, but I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, but how did the wings evolve the perfect position on the body of a bird to give it perfect stable flight? Because if you slide those wings forward or backwards amongst the vertebrae or just the overall position on the bird, its flight is going to become unstable. For a flying object to be perfectly stable, the center of lift needs to be just behind its overall center of mass. If it's forward of the center of mass, it will crash and burn or pull straight up every single time. There's no way they will be able to get stable flight, and we see them all the time just perfectly flying through the air. How did it figure out to get that perfect stable flight and that perfect position on its back?
Well, and this is just one of those evidences I talk about. When you zoom out, yeah, it's easy to say, oh, dinosaurs, and evolved into birds and that. Here we are looking at a structure that had to have been designed and completed before flight was possible. This is their problem. This is what they cannot overcome. Is there is no explanation with this with science.
And it's many others, but people just will see this and they will turn to Wikipedia, and Wikipedia will tell them, yeah, of course, that's how it happened. And look at the birds today; they are the same. I have also some clips from the Jurassic Park first movie, but although the whole discussion taking place there is very revealing, we're on YouTube, and I can't play the whole thing. I'm gonna give it a shot by pausing it like immediately, but I gotta be very careful with this. So first off, let me see if I can find it. So This is in our textbooks, and so there is this scene on the first. Give me a second here. On the first Jurassic Park. On the first Jurassic Park film, Steven, are you here? Can you tell me if you get audio when I share this?
Once it is shared, I'd be happy to tell you. And no, I'm not here right now.
Okay. Okay, so maybe DC and Richard are gonna help. All right. So I'm bringing it up. I'm muting myself, and I'm gonna press play for a second. I think it's pretty low, too, unfortunately. Let me see if I can highlight the audio. No, I can't. Okay. At least I'm not sharing the private chat. Sorry, guys. Wait, where is it? Here it is. So they are looking at the monitor at some technology which like x-rays the ground. Did I mute myself?
No, we hear you, but this is a fictional dinosaur, just so you know. The Velociraptor is the real dinosaur.
And the Velociraptor is a fictional dinosaur by itself. But funny that they know the pose that we find them in, that we talked about with Kent Hovind, right?
Yeah.
With the head looking up and their mouth being open, right? So listen to what this guy says. This guy, you know, the main actor. So listen to this.
Look at the half-moon-shaped bones on the wrists. It's one of these guys learn how to fly.
Do you hear that?
Barely, it's pretty quiet.
I know it is, but what can I do to the audio of it?
Let me see if I can turn it.
Audio track options.
Yeah, I'll do 50%. Go ahead.
Got it in for me. And look at the half-moon-shaped bones on the wrists.
Still kind of quiet.
Guys learn how to fly.
He said one of these guys is learning how to fly. And he looks like so impressed with what he's seeing right now. So people will start laughing.
No, seriously. Well, maybe dinosaurs have more in common with present-day birds than they do with reptiles.
And now he will start like pointing out some similarities, like the hip, which is backwards, which is on this dinosaur, which is fake. Plus, I don't know enough, but I've heard people say that this just doesn't happen. Like, how did it start happening to change and turn the hip backwards? Like, did both legs do that? Like, there was one baby that was the weird baby and was different. Why did that one mate? What other mate chose that one with backwards hips?
The pubic bone turned backward, just like a bird. Look at the vertebrae, full of air sacs and hollows, just like...
Yeah, but look at the bones. They're not hollow. So the whole film is full propaganda. Now, this child here says, I don't believe that. And he starts talking about how dangerous the velociraptors were. He makes the comparison of a chicken, I think, with a dinosaur.
More like a 6-foot turkey.
More like a six-foot turkey. So now he's gonna scare the child with how dangerous the velociraptors were, and that's it with propaganda. It's like they don't talk about it further. They will just throw it there, and then they're gonna scare us like, yeah, but you know how serious they were? They could like gut you. And they're not a turkey, they're like dangerous turkeys. And they planted the seed. And they're very smart, and they know why they're using a child too. They're focusing on the part of your brain that can take this. They're turning you into a child, getting educated by him being supposedly a paleontologist. But yeah, you know. So just one small clip about a movie that was out way before we have CGI, and the propaganda was already there. If you want to see a lot more of that propaganda, just look at the recent one. Like, it doesn't stop. They just keep pushing that they evolved into birds, and science disproves that. But they are saying, well, science proves it. Why are you guys against science? What do you have against science, you Christians? You hate science. No, we
Nothing.
love it.
Yes.
You don't care for science. So thoughts?
Pseudoscience and false science and lies that we're against. It's trying to teach a theory that fulfills your worldview. You know, you can't get the answers that you want, so you have to send it in a different direction. Evolution is a very, very well thought out theory, but it's been unproven, and it's not physically possible for life to create itself. But that was yesterday's topic. We're going on dinosaurs today, I guess, right?
Yeah, but it's all interlinked. Like, it doesn't matter where you decide to pick up a magnifying glass and focus on. It just that science disproves every single step. Yesterday we did focus a bit on cosmology, on the Big Bang, on the first version, on the first part of the evolutionary theory, aka how we got here without a God. That's what it is. We focus there. Now we're like focusing on dinosaurs, but if you want to focus somewhere else, go ahead. I don't mind.
Well,
Science
I just want to
disproves all
I
of
want
it.
to point out, just look how easy it is for them to establish their facts. They create a movie. Oh, look, the bones here say that this or that, right? They just look at the fossil in a camera screen, and all of a sudden that is their what the tool they use to make their propaganda
Right.
turn from an opinion into facts, right? And
I
then
think
they'll turn around and say the same thing to us. Be like, oh my gosh, you're God of the gaps. Well, I'm sorry, but that looked like to me a camera of the gaps. You know, you can
like
zoom in bones and just make up whatever you want with no processes to prove that that is actually true.
that's how propaganda works. Well said, DC. So if I have a misplaced hip, or I have like a hunch, and I die and you find me as a fossil, does that mean I I was at the missing link between something else in the future just because you find the fossil? It could be a handicapped dinosaur, but you know the movie, and that comes right after the credits, because I've heard long time ago on a documentary that was talking about dinosaurs evolving into birds. They were saying that although the director of the first Jurassic Park film knew the science, he knew the world wasn't ready for it yet. So he only put it at the intro, just for a little bit. And he's right. People were not ready for such bull. Now we have devolved to the level that we are. We see CGI that a dinosaur has feathers, and you get a whole movie talking about that dinosaur, and we're like, oh yeah, that's must be true, because you know they made a movie about it. Wake up, guys. Wake up.
Well, and going along with that, just this tactic of deception. I think it was Bill Nye was having a debate with, I forget his name now. Um, anyways, they give this picture of 20 or 30 skulls, and it'll be like, can you identify the human versus the ape? And I just want to point out, if we were to take 100 skulls from 100 different people from around the world, you're going to see 100 different skulls that do have big differences and changes in them. But they'll take that as proof of evolution. If those same 100 skulls that we would get today and buried them in mud, then what evolutionists would do is then align them in an order from what appears to be the older type of human versus what is conceptualized as the most modern, and then they will give dates to those showing, oh, this shows transition from early human to late human. but that's just fantasy because no, the 100 would be all given today at the same age. But that's the tactic they use. Is look at the differences in this. That shows that evolution is true. When in reality, no, that's just all you're doing is showing diversity, and it has nothing to do with time. And that's how they play these games. Is they use this deception of time rather than just looking at the differences among a species or a type.
How you like that picture?
I like it. Is that an outlet? My phone's really. Is that an outlet for electricity to plug your iPhone in between the two?
No, it is. It is
outlet
file.
on a phone.
It's file not found. It is the missing ink.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's not
Well,
there.
and that's the funny thing is you want to talk about that that's where Lucy would be occupying, right? They got this Lucy that should fit in there, but yet the bones they actually don't describe it. But yeah, they've tried to fill in that box, but they don't have it.
Achilles, I have one of those too. Big
Yeah.
whoop. And as you can see, all of us here tonight are on here. So
You
good
got me
going,
hunched
guys.
over. I don't have scoliosis. What's going on now?
Well, we
I
had
know-
to
I know
pose.
how-
We had to pose for the image, guys.
I love how you're trying to crouch there, Richard.
I thought you just came out of the Taco Bell, so it might explain something different.
Well, I was just gonna say, I was like, if I eat tacos the night before, the guy following me, he's gonna have a bad day.
That's how you walk, huh? When you have tacos last night.
That is a Taco Bell walk if I ever saw one.
But they will not present those problems to you, viewer. They will not present all these problems that the guys here and myself, we make a joke out of because we dig deeper and we discover that they have so many problems with the theory of evolution that it's not even longer a theory. It only survives on taxpayers' dollars and it exists in our textbooks. People get brainwashed into thinking that, and then they actually evolve into becoming creationists. So there is some evolution. Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, I mean, Achilles, you're absolutely right. Without tax funding, evolution would already be a dead and outdated theory. But because we tax fund it, it's still on life support, and that's a shame.
I found a picture I wanted to find. I found it.
I was doing a little bit of research since one of the audience members brought up terror bursts. I didn't know what they were, and I'm seeing a lot of similarities between them and ostriches and emus. So I honestly think it was just another form of large flightless bird.
I'm thinking there's a bird that is exactly like the two you just mentioned, Rich. And at one point, England even went to war with them and lost. These birds kicked the British Army's butt, not once, but I think twice. And I believe they once lived in Australia, if I'm not wrong. And that's, in my opinion, most likely what the terror bird was. I don't remember the name of them, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about it. I'm just doing a brief search here. I'm wondering how they know that it was strictly a carnivorous a bird. I mean, I'm beginning my research here, of course, and I don't see any fossils that talk about them finding, other mammals or other creatures, within the fossil that they found. And I know ostriches and emus, will eat grubs and various worms and bugs, insects, and too, along with vegetarian. I mean, I don't know how you can know what their diet was from finding bones in the dirt.
I would like to address a question here. So this gentleman says, right, my take is that God is able to create the earth with age. Why is it so hard for someone to accept? The majority of us here at Proverbs Guys, if not all of us, have, I believe, the same opinion on this. And it's that the earth was created with the appearance of a old, mature earth, the same way God didn't put a newborn baby in the Garden of Eden. He made Adam as a fully developed, functioning man, and he did the same with the planets and Earth, and that's my opinion. You guys are welcome to correct it if you disagree.
Brother
I would like
DC is sitting here, and he is really good at carbon dating and stuff like that to explain that, right?
Yeah, and that's actually exactly what I wanted to use, right? We're told that the Earth is billions and millions of years because of radiometric dating, and radiometric dating is a proven fact because we know the exact rate of decay of isotopes. Now, for those of you that don't know what an isotope is, carbon-12 is not an isotope. It has 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, which makes it a stable element. And so it doesn't decay to give us anything to count for parent-daughter atoms. Carbon-14 is basically the same, but it's crammed in 2 extra neutrons. So it has 8 neutrons versus 6 electrons, and so it makes it unstable, which causes a higher rate of decay. And so in using that type of thing with not which is carbon-14, but radiometric dating through isotopes of rate of decays, I posted on my Facebook I think it was this morning, maybe last night, but I posted about 200 years ago. I'm currently in Hawaii, and just south of me is Kilauea. And 200 years ago, slightly less than 200 years, but we're just rounding it to 200 years ago, that lava that came out of Kilauea erupted, and then it descended into the ocean in its creation. And so they took this sample, and to create in order to date it, they date what's called potassium argon. So it's potassium decaying into argon gas. When it's in a magma form, it is releasing this potassium argon gas into the atmosphere. But as the rocks cool, they become hard and solidified, and they lock in the potassium argon gas, so it no longer escapes. So it's assumed. Pay attention to the word assumed, because it's assumed that because it's locked in there, that it's now a closed system, which means there's no more parent atoms or daughter atoms that can be injected into it. So it's considered an extremely reliable source when it comes to dating the rate of decay. As soon as it's closed source, they start decaying from parent atoms into daughter atoms, right? What the problem they have is, depending on the atmospheric pressure, can determine how many of these potassium argon gases are trapped within. And so they were studying this, and they took and put these samples into a machine, and it was giving back dates of 22 million years ago was when these rocks were formed. But we know that their rock age was less than 200. So that's 110,000 times per unit off than actual. So for every year that rock was sitting on Kilauea down in the ocean, 110,000 years has passed based off the radiometric dating that's supposed to be solid as proof. And so they recognize that all of us, that this is a massive problem. So when we're as young Earth creationists are saying, no, the age of the Earth, is not that old, 6,000 years, right? If you're off by 110,000 units per year on one of the best methods to date this, how far off do you think we'll be at 6,000 years ago? The numbers become fitting right into the age of the Earth as being millions and billions of years, just simply because you're not radiometric dating is not dating time. It's just all you're doing is finding out a ratio between parent and daughter atoms. It's not telling time, and we know that because case after case after case after case, every time you test anything of a known rock age, like Mount St. Helens is another one, right? The dates never align with anything of known ages. There isn't one sample on Earth today that is ever matched to a known rock age. It's always the Mount St. Helens eruption in 1980, they took rock samples in 1986, and at the bottom end, because it's always a spectrum, but you'll never hear it a spectrum by these people.
Yeah,
Is
but
it always a spectrum?
DC.
So yes,
Yeah. But do you see what happened here? On the show on dinosaurs, they bring up meteorites, right? And they will bring
right.
up carbon dating. So on the show on carbon dating, they will bring up the fossils. On the show with the fossils, they will bring up geology, and you just don't catch them. Why can't they address the issues we're bringing up? Tell
Yeah, they
us
don't want to.
how the dinosaur evolved those hollow bones that have the structure to maintain the integrity. How did that happen? How does your imagination tell you it happened? With
By,
billions, millions of years. I know.
by
I
the
know.
way, DC, are you still up for the debate? Big Bad Mama was interested in debating some of the Proverbs guys. So I accepted the debate, but told him I needed about a month to brush up. But I know then right after that, you said you would be itching to get in a debate with him. So if we can make that happen, are you still willing?
Yeah, I'll debate.
All right. Big Bad Mama, we'll do it on multiple channels. We'll have Robin host and somebody else who's, a friendly, neutral host, and we'll let you get the Candy Smackdown live. That would be great.
Hey, anytime he wants to do cosmology and the Big Bang, count me in.
Oh, they won't go to any of the ones that are like really quick to push them down. So they're not going to go to origins or cosmology. They will stay away from those at all cost.
Yeah, you know why? Because there are so many hundreds of thousands of places on the earth, and if you don't know about one of them, they think they pulled a gotcha on you,
Right.
By the way, guys, did you catch the new name yet? It's Big Baloney Baby. Just
I don't know what they're calling it, but I do know that it is a cosmic sneeze. We did come up with that theory. Rich, you keep wanting to get in here, man. You go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. My bad too.
Oh no, I wasn't going to get in there. I'm actually distracted on something with my dogs right now. But no, I just thought it was funny. Nobody wants to debate the important things like biogenesis and cosmology and the Big Bang and origin of the universe anymore. I mean, maybe they've all figured out that it's not possible for it to happen by themselves, and they don't want to admit it publicly. I don't know. Maybe they've been turned over to a reprobate mind.
I'm kind of new to this channel. I'm trying to remember the guy's name, the one that does the TTR videos. I was on his show the other night.
Yep, that's Justin.
Justin, yeah, that's right. I should easily remember that. I brought up that I was kind of shocked when I found out that evolutionists don't consider abiogenesis part of evolution. And
Right.
he pointed out that they adjusted Wikipedia to change it because it used to be a part of it. Now they're trying to change the language to distance themselves from abiogenesis, because we do have proof of microevolution, right? Just an adaptation through mutation, and we see that, like even cats, right? That's an adaptation through mutation, you could say. We know that certain things evolves, but they always stay within their kind. A cat is always going to be a cat, whether it's really big or really small, right? So that's an adaptation of evolution. They want to blur the lines between abiogenesis and this, and they want to claim that evolution is fact. And what they're meaning is, this part of evolution is proven true. And then they want to distance themselves from abiogenesis to go from non-life to life. And so it's hard to pin down anyone that wants to have a discussion of this evolutionary leap from chemicals to all of a sudden, complex designs. They don't want to have that discussion because they're distancing themselves from it because it is problematic and they don't have answers. So,
and they're willing to admit it, so change the textbook so they don't look stupid, kind of thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Are you guys talking about how they changed it from the Big Bang being a big explosion to just now it's a rapid expansion?
Yeah,
well, that's their tactic. And to be fair and honest, right? We as creationists will come up with a theory of being able to explain stuff, but then as evidence, comes along, we do have to adjust it because no one on either side ever witnessed the past. But our argument is that we can explain things better by God and through intelligent design, and that these methods that are billions of years in evolution from non-life to life, abiogenesis, and then leap from kind to kind, just doesn't answer the question when we're standing firm on the same type of theory, even if we have to slightly adjust if the data gives us a little bit different view. But our argument is, if you're presented with the two, which one makes the most logical sense, and that's where we stand is the young Earth creationist makes a lot more logical sense. And that in these complex designs and structures that we see, whether it's dinosaurs, and the different kinds, going from one type to another, it has an intelligent designer and a creator before them. It comes down to God. We as young Earth creationists make the claim that all of our creation is created by an intelligent designer. There is obviously an architect behind all things, and science is trying to answer that. Their problem is, where does the information come from? How does chemical reaction produce information in its complexity in order to create a whole new structure of design, whether it's abiogenesis or kind to a different kind? Can you make out of a T-Rex, can you make a dog? And that's the claim that they're making. But the problem is the information is needed before it can be produced. So if that's the case, where does the information come from? And that is the answer that they cannot and never will be able to answer, because that is only provided by God. And that's our statement and our argument.
Man, I'm a little worn out, guys. Going back and forth with everything they throw in, like, I'm kind of tired. At least for the night.
Well, we can go ahead and shut this down. It was a shorter show, but I think that might be good because more people will probably come and watch it. And it was a really good one because Dr. Hovind came on and gave us all his information for why we believe dinosaurs walked with man. And it is absolutely ridiculous to teach your children the dinosaurs lived millions of years before we even existed.
Did you see how you threw in that random thing that he didn't expect about the ibis bird? And he was like, oh, you should have that on slide 405. And I'm like, what? And we didn't,
collection, it's upwards of 10,000 slides. He literally has.
Right? And he remembers, like, weights, everything is, dude, his IQ is off charts. But those that mention the pterodactyls are our first historians. So you either discredit the first historians and call them mythology and go against the grain of the whole civilization that we have, or you take what they said and start questioning the theory that dinosaurs died millions of years before man got here. Like, if whoever viewer is listening to this, go back on this show and watch this again. See how many examples got brought up of civilizations showing dinosaurs. And we have Herodotus describing the pterodactyls to the detail. And we have Josephus too, talking about them. And all the other stuff that you're gonna see right there. I can't do it again.
Do you guys want to go around and collect our final thoughts, and then we'll shut it down?
I'm done. I don't have any final words. You guys,
Oh,
go ahead.
go ahead.
last.
Go ahead. You want to go last, DC?
Yeah, I'll go last.
All right, go ahead, Rich.
Well, just like everything, I mean, they have a worldview because they've been deceived by the enemy. And all in all, it's like Satan's goal is to just get back at God and hate God and take us down to lift himself up. That's his final goal, just to hate take us down. And he's doing that to young people. He's doing that to our youth. And we need to learn how to fight back. I mean, this whole evolution theory and self-creating universe theory, from the origin of time, space, and matter to the origin of life, has been very cleverly disguised, where the average intellectual pick it up and read a book. And in the school system, they're being psychologically manipulated to believe that, and not given the opportunity to question whether or not it is wrong. And that's why they start at such a very, very young age to do it. And this propaganda it's horrible. It's humiliating. I mean, in the blink of an eye, within like 5 minutes ago, I was in high school, right? And it seems the older I get, the faster time accelerates. And before I know it, in another 5 minutes, I'm going to be beyond the pearly gates. And that's the purpose of this ministry, to make heaven crowded, and to discuss many ways why the enemy is deceiving people and why God is necessary for the universe and life to exist. And the truth is in that Bible, and I'm proud to be one of the people that defend it. And appreciate you guys sticking around from Dr. Hovind's channel and listening to us. If you guys want to like and subscribe, we do stuff like this throughout the week, just like Dr. Hovind does. You're welcome to come in and talk to us at any time. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it.
Amen to what you said, Rich. I'm honored to be part of defending our Bible from Satan. It's an honor. It's a privilege.
All right, so my final statement.
You know what they say. Fool me once, strike one. But fool me twice, strike three.
On a serious note, I do want to say that teaching your child evolution, that they were not created in the image of God and that they have no purpose and no future and no reason for living in the first place, is a form of child abuse. And if you're allowing your child to attend a public school, I understand sometimes people are put in the situation where that has to be the case, but it takes hardly no time at all to talk to them when they get home and explain to them that not everything they learn in public school is going to be true or even scientifically accurate. Please do not let your child fall victim to the child abuse that is evolution. Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you, guys. And I also want to just say thanks to all of you guys for inviting me and letting me be a part of your channel and to me be able to share the things that I've learned through my walk with God. So thank you for that. Thinking about my last thoughts here is, I'm going to bring this up because it has everything to do with it. I was a former Mormon, I believe, for 40 years. I was born into it. And throughout my life, there would be little red flags that would come up and be like, something's not quite right here. But I didn't really do anything with it. It just kind of got put on a shelf. And then eventually that shelf broke because there was just the weight of too many issues became a problem. There's going to be people out there that will die an atheist, die believing in evolution in billions of years, despite the evidence that might be presented as proving that what they believe in is not true. And there's always going to be people that will hold on to it. But if you're one of those ones that are questioning, which side is true or, which one makes more logical sense, be open to different theories. You don't have to agree with it to start off. But, my question to people is, are you going to allow facts to persuade you into changing your opinion? Or are you just going to reject facts because you love the idea of a lie? There's a lot of people right now that are going to die Mormons. But, for me, I couldn't be a part of that anymore because it was the volume of information that just made the shelf break. There's too much factual evidence that made it to the point where I can no longer believe in it because the facts outweigh the fantasy. And the problem is there's a lot of people that won't allow the facts to outweigh their fantasy of evolution just because they are holding on to the idea that the only way that all of this can happen is by pure chance and chemical reaction. And so, you know, what we're trying to do on this channel is less of an argument to win an argument, but to be able to present facts that persuade you to, hey, look, we have better answers. And these answers do come from the Bible, which, despite evolutionists, has not been proven to be a myth. I like to bring up the book of Job when it comes to these types of arguments. You know, it was brought up on this channel that God was asking Job many questions. And what I find interesting in there is there are questions that God was asking Job that for thousands of years man had no idea about, but only in the recent years has those questions then start to be answered and questioned by scientists. One of them, as an example, is where God had asked Job, can you command the darkness and tell it where to go and where to come from? God is implying in that question that darkness is a substance that can be controlled, not just an absence of light. And it's only been in the very, very recent scientific field that we're discovering of dark matter, a substance that is pushing away galaxies, not bringing them together by gravity. So darkness is a substance, just as the book of Job. How is it in an ancient document, thousands and thousands of years old, have truth that only modern scientists are discovering? And that's the evidence that we're trying to support here and to get out to people to understand the Bible has better answers for things, and it hasn't changed for thousands of years. Science continues to change and evolve because they're looking for truth based off of a false premise. And so I just would like to just invite people to allow these facts to dictate where your belief takes you, instead of allowing your fantasy of holding on to something just because it sounds good. If I wanted to become anything, I would want to be, you know, someone that believes that I can go and sin and do whatever I want, and no matter what I do, when I die, I'm going to be in a good place. That's easy. That's an easy fantasy. That takes no responsibility on my side. But I don't go there because the facts that is given doesn't yield that to be true. And so I personally have chose truth over fantasy, and that's where I stand, and that's where I love this channel, to be able to share what I've learned to hopefully lead others out of a fantasy and into truth. So with that, thank you guys all for showing up and watching the channel.
I want to share one more thing because I think it's important. Since I guess, you know, we have a bunch of new people watching this channel, I'd just like to bring up a point. Let me share a couple of slides if you guys don't mind. So I want to explain why life can't create itself and why the evolution theory is propaganda. So this is the definition of the second law of thermodynamics. It states that all spontaneous processes in the universe tend towards increasing entropy, which is a measure of disorder or randomness. This means that systems naturally move from a state of order to a state of greater disorder. So here's just some examples. Here's grandma's house. You're right, you leave it alone, don't maintain it, it's going to fall apart. Same's true with this car, you know, sitting in the junkyard, right? He doesn't seem too happy about it. So everything is bound by the second law of thermodynamics. The law doesn't change over time what placed it into a state of order in the first place. If everything tends towards disorder, it would have moved to disorder as soon as the Big Bang happened, and never would have become organized. Never would have become organized into life. If you can take any chemical composition you want, inorganic, and add energy to it, and it will not organize into new life. It has never been proven. And according to the second law of thermodynamics, it is not possible. This whole propaganda thing about life creating itself and over millions of years slowly evolving into that complex consciousness that is behind your eyeballs, that's propaganda. The truth is, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. It didn't happen all by itself. It doesn't say God created the singularity and it expanded, you know, from that singularity. I do have a lecture on that about 40 minutes long on my channel, Theories of Creation. I think I got it back here somewhere on Proverbs, guys, also. Feel free to check it out and watch it. I'll probably be doing it again here. but the science shows that God is necessary for God to exist, or physics shows that God is necessary for the universe and life to exist, excuse me. But yeah, that being said, thank you guys for tuning in, and stick around. See y'all later. Let me pull up any other thoughts you have, DC, or I'm just going to play this little clip here.
You're good.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers torn